Indo-China co-commander level talks have now been ongoing for the last 8.5 hours. Sources have told Republic TV that India is maintaining firm on its demand for status quo ante to be maintained. My colleague Tejinder Singh Sodhi is tracking developments. He's joining us live right now. Also with us, geopolitical expert Sriram Cholia on the show. So, over the last week, Sriram, as we've been having several former lieutenant generals of the army as well speaking to us on the issue, you know, one of them said, and very rightly so, that what we're looking at de-escalation is essentially confidence-building measures between the two armies and the two countries. Now, given that that confidence has been shattered by what happened from the Chinese side on June 15-16, how do you look at the fact that today's talks have gone on for nearly 9 hours now?
Right, the trust and confidence is quite low, and the kind of propaganda blitz that the Chinese have unleashed is reminding us about what they did during the Doklam crisis in 2017. The Communist Party mouthpieces are spewing venom at India, taunting us, you know, provoking us, and you know, also mocking us. So this is despite the fact that we gave them a befitting reply in Galwan, and they lost troops for the first time in many, many decades with an adversary. So you're right, that trust and confidence is low. So what I think is going to happen is that now that we have drawn a line, you know, in the Himalayas, in the high Himalayas, they have seen the line. You know, what I mean is not the maps and which are of course continue to be disputed, and the points and all those things. But we have drawn a line in the mountains with the blood of our soldiers. And what we have said is, you are not going to cross this line. You know, this is the India of Narendra Modi that is talking with certain, you know, grit and firmness. And so after that, everything has changed. See, strategically, if they thought that we were going to cave in, or that we are not going to make an effort to retake our land, they were mistaken, and they know it now. We will make more efforts to retake our land. But on the other hand, we are telling them, look, let us avoid these physical clashes where you also lose forces. Let us do it in a civilized way. Let us both mutually withdraw from this point or that point. So there are a lot of technicalities, and I think the long Corps Commanders meeting just shows how disputed the, you know, and the so-called perceptional LAC is. But on the other hand, we also need to avoid these clashes, and I think the Chinese want to avoid them too. And all that they're doing is putting up this rhetorical front saying, come on India, you know, test us and all that, I think is meant to try and psychologically make us stand back. But what Modi government has done is, we are not standing back. We've got our case, a strong case, and justice is on our side, fairness is on our side. Why have you come in? And why are you setting up all these temporary shelters and encampments on our side of the LAC? Just step back. So I think we are going to keep on insisting on that. And after the Galwan fight, it's a different reality, because earlier they thought that India was maybe not so serious. Maybe India will, you know, just make a hue and cry and then forget it and gradually concede. So that salami slicing strategy of Chinese was take an inch and then test the waters, how far the Indians will try and push back. But now we have drawn the red line, and we are saying no more of this slicing, no more of this land grabbing by stealth. And no more of this, you know, cartographic aggression. You first come in.
Sriram, I'm going to come back to you, because I also want your take on how Global Times has been kind of dishing out unwarranted advice on how India should be behaving. And Global Times, of course, is the mouthpiece of the Chinese party. So on that, I'm going to come back to you. Sriram, we keep saying that the rules of engagement with China perhaps have to change. What does that really mean? Because, you know, we have to sit on the table and talk to them. The borders are not decided, as you mentioned. There is a difference of perception as far as the LAC is concerned. And we all know through history, China has tried to inch forward and grab more of Indian territory. They've tried to do the same as far as the Finger 4 to Finger 8 area is concerned. But India has been behind in development of its infrastructure. It is still catching up. So when we say that the rules of engagement have to change, what does that really mean?
Yeah, two things, Shivani. First is, we are going to use firepower, because in the past we had avoided that. If they really test us and our patience and our you know, generosity as about the perceptional LOC, and if they really transgress far and ingress really, really deep, we're going to use firepower. You know, khuli chhoot, we are saying in Hindi, right? So
Right.
that's going to happen. Second, we
Yes.
have imposed now surface-to-air missiles have been set up at the LAC, which means if their aircraft, fighter jets, reconnaissance, surveillance, or armed jets turn up, we have the right to shoot them down. And third thing, we also will increase. See, look, this is a perception line, right? And we have a mountain strike corps. We can also penetrate the Chinese side, and we have done that in the past. So these are the three things I think we are sending as a kind of a strong defense and deterrence message that when we say rules of engagement have changed, we
Okay.
are not going to try and resolve this at the lowest possible level and somehow quiet it down. We are saying if you are going to be upping the ante, so can we. So it's a kind of a, dare me kind of a,
Okay.
I think, a change that has happened since Galwan. We are now willing to really confront them. And our hope is that they don't take it in a way which becomes a spiral that goes out of control and becomes a full-fledged war. That's also a danger, but we can avoid that.
Okay,
What
so
I'm saying
with
is
that,
this
I
is
come
not
to
a
some of the
limit. This is not a
responses that have been
limit.
coming out of China. How do you read the way some of their, office holders have responded? But also more curiously, the statements that are being made, for example, by the mouthpiece Global Times. First, on the boycott Chinese goods or companies issue, they said India shouldn't try and fall into this. Then they're saying, oh, you should, not show too much bravado because you don't match up to China, etc., etc. What do you read into this kind of rhetoric being peddled by the Global Times?
Shivani, this is pure psychological warfare. If you know the history of communism and of Maoism, we are quite familiar with this. Even the North Koreans use this kind of incendiary language, and they try to, use extremely offensive and abusive ways of addressing other countries and other leaders. They try to, create divisions within the adversary societies. Look at the situation where the opposition leader in our country is saying, how come the Chinese are praising our prime minister after taking our land? So already, in a way, the Chinese have succeeded, at least with this one man who has fallen for their bait. He doesn't understand what is psychological warfare. He doesn't understand Maoist propaganda and how it tries to create these divisions in opponents and rule.
I don't think it has even needed propaganda on their side to achieve that, Shriram. I think this is a pre-decided strategy from the Congress party and from Rahul Gandhi, not necessarily the Congress party. But I think Rahul Gandhi has just broken ranks and just gone on his own tirade. I don't think the Chinese have to do much for that. He has decided he's going to try and attack Narendra Modi. The best outlet he has found is to attack him on this. But he doesn't realize that he's actually backfiring on the Congress.
No, very much so. In fact, Shivani, these people have no sense of history. That's why they're falling for the Chinese trap. And the country must be beware of these traitors because they don't know that the Chinese are going to use this. From last 3 days, they have been quoting Congress leaders, the Chinese propaganda mouthpiece saying, oh, they are all saying there's no problem. And they have, of course, misquoted and cleverly misused Prime Minister's statement and spin. They are the masters of spin. Our propaganda is not up to the same level, and we are actually so gullible. Some of our politicians are falling for the trap and are repeating the Chinese messages like parrots. They don't even have a knowledge of how China operates and how it tries to browbeat, sow divisions in the opponents, and ultimately capture them.
Certainly you're right about having no perspective on history, because then somebody like Rahul Gandhi wouldn't be saying what he's saying about China occupying our land, because there is obviously a lot that he needs to answer, at least as far as Congress's history and his own family's history is concerned. But Shriram, before we end this, I just want to ask a quick question to you about, India engaging with Russia at multiple levels. The foreign minister is going to do that. The defense minister is in Russia. What do you expect?
Well, interestingly, there's an RIC trilateral also. The Chinese foreign minister is also going to be there. But more importantly for us, the Russians,
yes,
although they have a kind of a strategic alliance with China vis-a-vis the West, they try to counter America in global forums and all that. On this issue, when it comes to geopolitics and land and sovereignty, the Russians are equally wary of the Chinese, much as we are. And the Russians want us to buy their S-400 and most advanced weapons. They've also sold them to China, but that's okay. We are also going to get the deterrent, and that will simply mean that the Chinese cannot, for example, attain any kind of air superiority over India. in any kind of war. So we need the Russian weapons. We need Russia to also try and coax the Chinese and tell them, look, let's bury this hatchet. We all have so much in common. Let's, we are part of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Dr. Jaishankar will surely ask the Russians to come on, prod the Chinese in a positive direction, ask them to step back. The Russians are wary of Chinese demographic aggression across the northeast of China, because the border with Russia is Siberia. Lots of Chinese are just crossing over and settling in Russia, and then they're going to claim that land too. So the Russians know what is cartographic aggression. Indians know what is cartographic aggression. We have something in common. It doesn't mean the China-Russia alliance is going to be weakened, but we want Russia to play a creative role to help move this process forward. We don't want war with China, and if Russia can help in a way, I'm not talking about mediation or intervention, what Trump uses in very crude terms. Russia is a more seasoned player. It can find a way to help us in our cause, because Russia realizes what Chinese are doing with us today, they could also do with Siberia and the Far East one day in Russia, right across the northern border of China. So I think China...
Well, absolutely. Certainly countries like Australia, Japan, America are very wary of what the Chinese have been doing and, are capable of doing. And therefore, they certainly are, more on the side of India. India has to decide now whether it will ditch that one China policy or not. And a lot may also depend on what happens, given, depending on Russia's response as well. We leave it at that. Sriram Chalia, thanks a lot for joining us.